Yeah, I can't believe we're on our last.
That's too low.
It's really gone very, very quickly. Where's that thing?
Tip that back a bit.
When I thought about this boot camp, I just did this, and I mapped the 6 weeks on there what we wanted to cover. And I remember doing it thinking, I have no idea how this is going to work, but we'll just go for it and we'll see if we can add some value. But it's been pretty good for us for the back of me giant calendar. So, right, what we're going to do tonight. So, I thought, we do Q&A as normal. Before I go any further, I just for me, wanted to say thank you to everyone who's just been here, not just for being here, but awesome energy. You guys contribute, you're all in. You're not like, I'll show it when I can be bothered. If you're here, you're here. And not everybody does that. So really, really grateful for that. And then for everybody who has sent me different types of gifts in the last 3 days, you are. I'm really, really grateful. You didn't need to. I didn't do that for this, but thank you. I'm really, really appreciative. I'm not going to name you all because I'll probably get upset or emotional or something, but thank you. Anyway, so on a lighter note, what I thought we'd do, but it's entirely up to you guys, the last session, I've got some notes on a recap. So a recap of the things we've talked about since lesson 1, session 1, all the way through to 5. Got a few bits from books that I might refer to, just to bring some more insights to you all. And we can have discussion as we go. Does that sound okay? Before we do that, has anybody got any feedback or reflections? Because we've had 2 calls in 48 hours. Brilliant. J&J, actually, Julianne and Janine. Did anybody have any other feedback or comments or reflections since we listened to their stories?
I think hearing other people's stories, even if it's something you can't personally relate to, it's just really inspiring. I love hearing other people's success stories. So just hearing it has helped just motivate me and make me want to achieve my goals even more.
Yeah, I love listening to them, and I knew those stories. Okay, well, let's just dive in. It's not going to be a one-way Lorna show, so feel free to interrupt and ask questions as we go. So I'm going to start by I'm going to recap some of the key messages and then each of the kind of routines we've put in place and at a high level. I want to pause and just reflect quickly on purpose, because I think as you guys move forward, we talked about a goal for the boot camp, and maybe a 6-week goal, but as we've kind of peeled away the layers, hopefully it's becoming clearer to you that maybe you want to set a big goal and have a focus for something that you really want, something meaningful. So I'm going to digress quickly into purpose, then look at the evening routine, because I'll do the morning one first, then the evening one. And I have something I was reading actually last night, it must have been sent to me, as to it's a powerful piece of writing about why that, that review the day that we do, why that is important. So I wanted to share that with you. So if I go back to our original starting point, why did we do any of this? And it started, I think, it's been a long time. It feels like it's gone quick, but it's been a long time. It started with us saying, look, when we move through our days, we can leave that to chance. Hang on, Helen's wanting to come in. There we go. We can kind of leave that to chance and wake up, get out of bed and let whatever happens just happen, right? And equally, we can choose to have a goal or not have a goal. And again, leave everything to chance. And we talked about this idea that our emotional state, our emotional state meaning, where do we live emotionally? Each day do we wake up and are we often anxious or stressed or sad? Or are we usually joyful, abundant and positive, or at ease or calm? the point is, it's not, we can take control of that. So the first message was, we can take control of our emotional state every single day. Clearly, there'll be outside factors that knock us off track, knock us off course, as Nat was sharing this morning, maybe 2 hours into a day and you get knocked, the magic disappears. But there's one powerful reason for doing that is, number one, just to feel better. But a more important reason for doing that, or maybe not more important, equally important, is if your goal is going to be on a higher frequency, Janine talked about this last night, on a higher joyous frequency, a higher happiness frequency, a higher thinking frequency than where you are right now. And how do I know that? Well, if your goal is big enough and it's enough of a stretch, then it's going to be on a different plane almost. So you want to fuse your thinking about your goal with a higher emotional frequency. So if you're like thinking about the things that you want, but every day you're waking up feeling frustrated, that's not the emotional state to be goal focused. And I think, like, one of the things through the pandemic is, things just are happening outside of our own control. And some of it's scary, some of it's alarming, or it has been. And if we internalize all of those ideas from, let's face it, it's from a box on the TV. If we're lucky, if we're unlucky, clearly we've had health and challenges in our own family. But for the most part, for most people, it's a box on the TV giving you information. If we allow that to kind of dictate whether we show up, up here or down there, then we are not in control of our own life. And it doesn't matter whether it's a pandemic, does it? There'll always be circumstances. So your ability to take control of your emotional state and stay, call it like above the line emotionally, more often than not. It's not about like walking around with a big false smile on your face, pretending you're happy. It's not. It's about cultivating the habits of somebody who is hardwired to notice the good, to give the good, to be grateful. And you get hardwired with the habitual routines, with the things you do every day, because that's how we got wired in the first place. And your emotional state's everything. If you just imagine like someone who is down, what's their body language? What's your body language when you're miserable? It's like hunched, isn't it? You can see it. It's hunched, it's down, might be on the expressions of the face. If you look at people of a certain age, when you look at their resting face, you can kind of see, you can have a clue as to where they've lived emotionally. Some people have a really miserable resting face, like they've been frowning their whole life or in pain. And some people have a really joyous resting face. But if when you're walking around in this hunched state, trudging through life almost, you just have to look at that person and say, you're not going to achieve anything magical. You're not going to go for a goal. You're not going to take action today. And that feeling if you've got worry or fear or doubt, those thoughts, they're like clutter. And they're like, I imagine them as like marbles just cluttering up your brain, and they have the power to paralyze you while we're focused in that way. So like now more than ever, these habits are really important because you can get up and take control. So that's where we got into the morning routine. Meditation being the first one, because it doesn't matter what's going on outside. If you can give yourself 10 minutes of stillness, and I started on week 1 with just sit and be still, knowing that if we say, let's start meditating for 30 minutes a day, it just sounds like overwhelming and too much. But I think once you start, like maybe sitting, listening to a guided meditation, and you do it for long enough, you realize the benefits of it. And it's one of them things you can't really say, these are the benefits, and you'll go, great, I'll do it. You kind of have to experience it. But it's one where, you take the time for you, you give yourself a moment, and then you get through your day, you get on with your day. And you can do that throughout the day. I've been listening to, I forget the name of this guy, he's like a scientist of the brain and the anatomy. I'll post something on him. He's fascinating. There's hours and hours of YouTube information. But he talks about actually, you can take a mental pause. Remember, I talked about the nervous system needs a break. And you can take that pause at any point in the day. And I think we did that in the very first session where we just sat and we got present for like 30 seconds. And this guy this morning I was listening to, he said, You know, if you like sit and you look at a horizon, like the sea view or something, he said that's a way of kind of telling your mind to kind of relax and focus generally. Because you imagine your eyes are looking at a very expansive general view, but you can also sit quiet and meditate at something more focused, more narrow. And that could be when you sit and you're quiet and you think about what you're grateful for or your goals. And that's equally valid. But they're both different. You know, one is more of like a general, wide open relaxation. The other is kind of training your ability to focus, which is really important. So we talked about visualizing your goal. And if you remember, why do we do that? Why are we visualizing our goal? There's so many reasons to do this. Number one, if you can get yourself to think of the goal, but not just think of it, think from that place and feel it. Actually, I meant to share this. There's a meditation I did this morning with Joe Dispenza. And it was like a 14-minute one. And he talks about, it's basically a meditation to help you not go to your goal in terms of just a vision, but it helps you like go there in your emotional body. It's hard to explain, you'd have to listen to it, but the whole point of visualizing your goal is so that you can assume the feeling of already having it. Now that's something you kind of comes with practice, but when you've got that, it's a magical thing, because you wake up in the night and you look forward to visualizing your goal. You have a moment spare, you think, I can visualize my goal. And you can take yourself in, it doesn't matter what's going on in the here and now in the outside world. In an instant, you can take yourself to that better feeling place. But it's not just about feeling better. You have to be assuming that feeling of your goal. When you do that, you're attracting back, because you're lifting your frequency. So you're attracting back anything that's in harmony. You're lifting your thought frequency, your energy frequency, and you're then going to attract back things that are like that. Think about it like this. We might have spoken about this, but your brain has a system, the RAS, the reticular activating system, which tells it what to notice. So if you're focusing on, what you're worried about, the problems in front of you and your current circumstances, your brain goes, that's what's important. I've instructed this brain to say that's what's important. So I'm now going to wake up and I'm going to notice everything that matches that instruction. So if you wake up and you take your mind to your goal, something that maybe isn't here yet, but something you really want, you are telling your brain that what's important is for it to notice and spot things that are in harmony with that goal. Now that might sound a bit like out there, but if you imagine it's just like when you buy a car, isn't it? And you buy a red car and you see the same red car everywhere. It's not because there's more of those red cars on the road. It's because your brain for a point in time has been told that's what's important. Just connect that for your goals. If you start doing that, when Janine and Julianne were saying, these things just come to me, these resources, these people, these ideas, these things I jump on, they're more decisive because they see them as absolute kind of signs and things that they match what they're going after. So they take action, but people are coming towards them. But those people would have been there before, but you wouldn't have noticed it. That's why it's really important to focus on your goal. It sounds like, when you say visualize your goal, it sounds like yeah, that sounds nice. That'll make me feel good. There's a much more powerful reason for doing it. We talked about gratitude. My husband has a bit of a thing with the word gratitude. He prefers like appreciation. I think he thinks gratitude is just overused. So it's like loses its emphasis. Doesn't really matter, does it? Just whatever works for you. What are you deeply appreciative for in your life? And we can talk about, I'll pause after this and see if you've got questions or any of these areas where maybe you've found really beneficial or you're struggling with. Gratitude can be one of those. Like I can sit there and on one day I'll connect really deeply to one thing I'm grateful for, and I'll write about why I'm grateful for it. Another day it's just a tick box, but I just keep going. And then on another day when I'm really not feeling it, I'll just do what I call a gratitude rampage. Then I'll just write 15 things. I'll just go for it, write 15 things I'm grateful for. By the time you get through the 15, 20 things, you're actually lifted your emotional state anyway. Movement, we talked about movement, so it doesn't have to be a lot. I like personally, I like the endorphins from exercise, but I know it doesn't have to be that. Do it to give you the movement, to give you the health benefits, to give you the feel good outdoors ideally. And I do find that motion creates emotion. So if you can do your visualization while you're moving, while you're running, while you're walking, it really connects you into it, really powerfully connects you into it when you're moving. And finally, affirmations, because I'll come to beliefs. I'll talk about beliefs again in a second, but if you think about all day, every day, you're affirming something. So all day, every day, you're telling yourself something, whether that's what you want to eat for dinner, or whether that's how good you are or how bad you are, or how thin you are, how fat you are, how young you are, how shy you are. You're affirming something all the time. So start tuning into your inner voice, because when we say do affirmations in the positive about the thing you do want, it's trying to override all the things you are affirming unconsciously, because we all do it. We're affirming things we don't want. So if I hear it all the time. People say, I am like this. I am one of these types of people. If the words coming out your mouth are not what you want, stop saying it. Catch yourself. Stop saying it. Because it's an instruction to your mind that that's what you're going to get more of. That makes sense? Yeah. So that's the me morning. That's the recap of the me morning. How's that feeling for everybody? Any questions? No? Okay.
No, but Lorna, I've always got something to say, haven't I? I seen a quote today and I loved it, and it was, feeling gratitude and not sharing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. And I thought that was so lovely, isn't it?
That's nice. That's so cool. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we went a step further in one of them, Nat, which was, and Lisa mentioned it, in the 6-month program, we do a deep dive into a thing called impression of increase. And there's a whole big reason, there's kind of science, there's leadership impacts about why we do this, but effectively what we do, it's kind of building on the gratitude. It's forming the habit of somebody who looks for what people do well and tells them. That's effectively it. Because when you do that, you're appealing to the higher side of their personality. People want to be around people who lift them up. We do. And I'm not saying do this falsely or do it so you get something in return. Just decide right now that that's who you're going to be. Add that to your personality and decide that that's the type of person you're going to be. It's something that I believe in and I do, but I haven't yet nailed it as a habit. And the reason I know it's not a habit is because I have to consciously remind myself.
Yeah.
Like any habit, you have to consciously remind yourself before it becomes a habit and just.
Yeah.
Marie, what was the thing you mentioned on the thread about your morning and your 8 hours or something?
No, it was the saying that I made up. Just me before 8 and the day will be great. So I get up at 6 and then between 6 and 8 is just me. And if I do that, I know I'll have a great day.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I know that I'm eating into, the longer I stay in bed, the longer I'm eating into the time that I've got.
Yeah.
That was it, really.
Yeah.
And just one thing, Lorna, about like making something clear in your head that you want to be and do and go and get it. Like yesterday, before we did the call with Janine, I had a call with a guy that that I'd done some work for previously, just about some upcoming project work that I was interested in, and we scoped it, and I said I would write a proposal. And then on that call with Janine, do you remember I said I can relate to her wanting to, or I was saying that I wanted to monetize some of my skills as this like side hustle, and that I didn't have the balls to do it, and I was thinking about how to do it, and you said just own it and do it. So today I called that guy back and I was like, by the way, and I can do all of this for you as well. And I got an extra load of work out of it because you said just do it. And I was like, do you know what? Yes, I can do it. I am worth it. And even though it's not my core business, it is from a previous life. And yeah, and then I got loads more work out of it. So thank you for that.
Nice one. Well done. Congratulations. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Big thumb from Nat. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I have loads of great books I read and I just keep them and refer to them. If you're in a position where you're starting to think about, okay, I kind of know what I want, but is there something more? I just wanted to give us some like reflection on abundance and purpose. Hang on, let me find the right bit. So I'm just going to read a little bit. There's just sometimes the words in the book are better than I can describe it, so I use that. Anything you wish for can flow effortlessly into your life if you understand and apply the law of attraction. We live in a world that seems to emphasize scarcity and lack, and yet the truth is, this is an abundant universe. There is no scarcity, there is no lack. There is more than enough food, money, joy, happiness, spiritual fulfillment, and love for everyone. If you want to create abundance of love in your life, then focus on love. Be the love you want to attract. Become more loving and generous with others and with yourself. By creating the vibration of love, you will automatically draw more love into your life. Focus on whatever it is you want to create more of in your life, and remember to be grateful for that which you already have. Gratitude itself is a form of abundance, and the vibrational frequency of gratitude and appreciation will automatically attract even more to be grateful for. And then there's a quote from Wayne Dyer: abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. There's no scarcity of opportunity to make a living at what we love. There is only scarcity of resolve to make it happen. For example, if you want to create financial abundance in your life, then start by focusing on prosperity and money flowing into your life. Envision the checks coming in the mail. Write yourself a check for the sum of money you wish to manifest this year. Post it in a visible location. Every time you see it, believe that it is possible. Make a donation to your favorite charity and know that you can afford it. You must be willing to give in order to receive. Imagine just how amazing it will feel to have complete financial freedom. And then it kind of goes on to visualization. You must be clear about your desires, believe it will happen, and as an extension of your belief, you must be willing to take all the normal logical action steps that make sense, along with any inspired actions that occur to you. You must be willing to follow your inspired impulses, maintain a vibrational match for what you want to attract, and trust that the results are already being created for you. You no longer have to you no longer fight the current, but you are no longer fighting the current, but moving effortlessly downstream with the natural rhythm and flow of life. Just love that. Love that. So there's everything in there, isn't there? There's why you focus on your goals. The fact that we are conditioned to think scarcity. There's not enough to go around. If you think about it, there is abundance of everything. It might not be evenly distributed at the moment, but there's abundance of everything. I think we operate with a point of view that, and we talked about competition. If you want more, you feel like you're greedy, because if you feel like you're greedy, maybe you're taken from somebody else. For you to have more means somebody else has to have less. That's not the case. You can have more, and they can have more, and the next person can have more. And when you operate from that place, that belief, it's so mentally freeing, because you don't have to be in competition. You don't have to think of holding on and worrying, because you kind of start operating from a place of flow. So then we moved on to the review the day. You know, so at the end of the day, I know some people get to the end of the day and they say, this is the bit I can't actually implement on a regular basis. And I said, as a minimum, focus on your goal, connect to your goal at the end of the day. That's a minimum. But there are other things I suggested we put in there as well. So there's journaling, you know, more detailed journaling about the life that you want. And then there's a mental review and redo of the day. Remember we talked about that, which is quite a fun thing to do. But not only that, it kind of has a powerful cumulative impact. So, you know, you'll move through your day, you go to bed, and then basically what I do is work through the key events. So I woke up, I had coffee, my interactions with the kids and with Mark, and then we go to the school, and then everything that happens. And when you get to something where you think, I didn't like the way I responded, or I didn't like what happened, you redo it. And it's not just the way you respond, you do that piece, but you kind of mentally, almost like you've wrote the day of a film, and then you're going to rewrite and edit a little bit. You mentally edit a little bit. And this was interesting, because I'm reading The Power of Awareness again. And he talked about this, and really, I didn't go into this much detail when we got to this section, when we talked about the evening routine. But I love the way he puts it. He calls the chapter The Pruning Shears of Revision, meaning revise the day. So you're going to revise the day. And let me read it, and then before I tell you. It's a most healthy and productive exercise to daily relive the day as you wish you'd lived it, revising the scenes to make them conform to your ideals. For instance, suppose today's mail brought disappointing news. Revise the letter, mentally rewrite it, and make it conform to the news you wish you'd received. Then, in imagination, read the revised letter over and over again. This is the essence of revision, and revision results in repeal. The one requisite is to arouse your attention in a way and to such an intensity that you become wholly absorbed in the revised action. Then I've highlighted other bits. A man changes his future as he revises the day. When man practices the art of revision, however factual the scene on which sight then rests, he revises it with his imagination and gazes on one never before witnessed. Now, I know that's a little bit deep. What he's saying there is, if you look at your circumstances through your eyes, not what you can physically see or hear or smell or taste or touch, and regardless of what you see there, the more you can revise the day that you want in your imagination and live there, regardless of what's going on in your physical world, the more you can be in control of your own destiny. Now, I wanted to share that, and I know that's kind of jumped in pretty deep to kind of how this whole thing works on the non-physical plane, but it just brings to life that the power of that review in the day. And if nothing else, you are correcting habits. You know, so you're correcting habits, the way you maybe interact with people that you wish you wouldn't do, if you're reacting in a way that you wish you wouldn't react, and you review that each day, you can imagine that over time, that's going to draw to your attention in the moment, and you're going to take a different action. So that's the evening routines. Thoughts and comments on any of that? I'm aware. Go on, sorry.
One of the, like a little bit like what I said earlier about how hearing someone else's inspirational story is really motivating. And actually, at the end of the day, it's a very similar concept, because you look at and be surprised at how much you've, and if there's good stuff in what you've done. I think that really motivates me to keep doing that as a routine, but also just excites me again to get up the next day and achieve even more.
Yeah, so true. I mean, I'm focused on revision of the day, but absolutely before you do that, let's focus on what we won. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if you look at it and you go, look, these are all the things, the great things. If I'll highlight them and I'll be like, these are the crap things I've done today, and these are the great things I've done today, and the great things is inspiring. If that's a thing, to inspire yourself.
I agree. No, I completely agree, because I don't think I've ever really sat and thought too deeply for a long time about goals. And equally, I guess for most of us, this might be quite common, is you don't really appreciate all the good about yourself. And I certainly wouldn't think about that at the end of the day. And this has forced me, as it has all of us, to do that. And in my sort of quiet moment, because I go to bed early on my own and I sit and do all of this, actually, I know there's kind of almost a physical thing to being able to lift your vibrations, but actually there has been a lot of acknowledgement about what I actually do and what I actually have achieved, and how many people's lives in that day I might have touched, and the things I've done for people. And actually, for the first time, I think, ever, and I'm nearly 50, have I sat down and thought about my contributions and the good that I've done that day. And that's been so lovely, because I've never ever thought about it before. I don't know if anyone else has thought that as well, but yeah, it's been a bit of a boost, I suppose.
I think, Lisa, we used to work at such a pace, and I don't just mean our work, I mean just getting through the day at such a pace. And this has taught us that actually in not a lot of time we can give ourselves so much back.
Yeah.
You know, I never spent time on me because it's in the house, and it was an early-ish mornings when this has totally transformed all of that. So because I've spent the time doing it, and I love sitting there doing a meditation, and you know, I might sneak one in the afternoon if I've got
cheeky.
I know. I never would have done that.
And it's strange, actually. You know, I have always been I'm not a morning person, because I really, the thought of getting out of bed, and I mentioned a week or so ago, you know, I don't have a choice. So against everything I want to do, I am still up early. But there is a vast shift in me that I'm getting up early, even earlier, to do something for myself. And that feeling alone has changed how I feel about getting up.
Yes.
Completely. It's not that I don't want to take care of the children and do all the things that I do, because I absolutely do, and I'm passionate about all of that, but it hasn't felt like a duty. It's felt like a present to myself. Yeah, it really has. And I never ever imagined that I would get joy from getting up early when it's pitch black and there's no one around, and just that time, which is, yeah, it's been so both ends. Like you sort of think it feels really good.
I keep going back to what Marie said about it. You know, you're giving yourself 2 hours to yourself every day, but we all lead such busy lives. If we have 2 hours a day, that's that extra day a week where we've said we haven't got time to do this, we haven't got time to do that, but we're actually giving ourselves that extra time. And I feel it feels like treating yourself.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
It does. And yet it's not interfered with anything or anyone. I don't feel as if I've compromised any other aspect of what, you know, I'm responsible for, really. And that's why it just feels good. It's not tinged with any sort of guilt or anything, which yeah,
we're probably in better shape for it, aren't we? So the people around are probably getting a better version of us as well.
We're going to scoot.
All right, I agree.
You want to swap?
Can you drive?
Yeah. Oh no, actually, how much did you? I had 2 of mine. You have to drive. I have one in there and I have one in the.
I don't know who's having a chat there.
I wrote a list of everything I've achieved during lockdown. So since the 23rd of March, like nothing's been the same since then. And I was really aware that I wanted to keep track of the stuff that I was doing that was good and productive. I've got a massive list of stuff that I've done, and I keep looking at it and I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
Loads of people haven't. Loads of people have just sat and taken their furlough and played their Xbox for 6 months.
So you've been journaling early.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really, yeah.
Yeah, I want to read all the lockdown like blogs and journals and diaries, and they'll be like really interesting as we move through this.
I want to see the movie.
Lockdown the movie.
I'll send you mine, Colin.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, honestly, I showed you the big sheet of paper, and I didn't really question whether you guys would find value out of it, because I know that this stuff works. So I actually, my mind didn't go to what if people don't find value. But what has been really lovely is just how much value and to what extent you guys feel like a shift's been made. I knew there'd be a shift, and also the extent to which you guys have jumped in and said, I'm going to do it. And I'm immersing myself in it. And there's people not on the call doing it as well, and catching up and keeping going. So it's lovely. So I think hopefully you are going to keep this going in your own life. I'm not sure exactly. I think we talked about how long does it take to form a habit. I've read 21 days. I've read 30 days. I've read 60 days. 6 weeks seems like a decent amount of time for you to go, I could keep doing this, but it would be so easy to slip. It would be so easy to go, the boot camp's over now, and I haven't got that accountability with the group, and I haven't got anybody to check in with. But let's keep the Be the Change going and keep the support there. And just remember, you will feel the benefits of doing this all the time you're doing it. And not only that, the cumulative effect of doing this, imagine you feel like this after 6 weeks, the cumulative effect of continuing, and even more for people who are not crazy busy in their day job right now. I know we could be, but when things do return a bit more crazy, I know they already are for some people, all the more reason, that's even the more important time to give yourself that time, because we'll just get straight back on that hamster wheel. And I guess the last thing I would say is, if you are thinking about your goal, and hopefully you are, and you're going to use that as a tool to think, these are the things I want to achieve. And hopefully your goal is big and it's something you've never done and you don't know how, and it's actually important that you don't know how. But just remember, you won't get there just because you know how beliefs work and just because you now know on an intellectual level what a paradigm is. But you have some tools to start when you know there's a limiting belief or a belief idea that you've got that doesn't help. You've got some tools. You've got the affirmations you can start to use to replace the non-productive beliefs or the negative beliefs with a positive one, but only 1 or 2 at a time. Don't try and do more than that, because it's too much. But always replace. If you want to replace like a negative thought that you have, maybe it's about yourself. If you want to replace a negative thought you have about yourself, remember I said you're affirming something all the time. So I don't know what your negative thought might be. It might be, I don't know, you might think, I don't know, I'm bad-tempered. I couldn't think of anything. I'm bad-tempered with people.
Alison's was that she wasn't good enough.
So he's remembering that, Alison.
She's not here.
Not here.
Yeah, Ali Morden.
So she'll listen on the recording. So yeah, that you're not good enough. So it's a good example, Colin. So telling yourself on whatever level, it could be something you say out loud, it could be something you say to yourself, it could be something you don't even realize you're saying to yourself, but it's there. So you're affirming that. So I'm going to suggest to you that you pick one, if you haven't done already, you had beliefs homework, and just flip it to something that feels better and is more positively affirming. And don't go to that place anymore. It'll still come up, it'll like bubble into your mind, but as Julianne said, send them on like clouds. And affirm it with something different. But this is an ongoing thing, even if you're like the best version of yourself, succeeding in every way, feeling great, there'll still be something, you'll still want to stretch, you'll go, what's next? Because you'll get bored. So it's not about all your beliefs are bad, it's just that you always need to be upgrading because you're upgrading and your goals are getting bigger.
Isn't it exciting?
An exciting life, an exciting world. No, it is. It is. Is there anything in the chat that we've missed? Don't die with the music still in you. Yeah, Wayne Dyer. Awesome. Right, you guys, got about 10 minutes left. So over to you. That was everything from me. I don't think there's anything logistics to tell you about. The stuff will stay in the group for another like 4 to 6 weeks or something. So you can recap, take them, whatever you want to do with them. Other than that, we'll stay in the group and we'll stay in touch. And for those who still, the offer of the 1-to-1 and joining the 6 months is still open for everyone. And even if you want a 1-to-1, but you have no intention of joining the 6-month program, that would be good too. You know, I'm still want to help you on the next step, next path, whatever that is for you.
I do think that there's a power of team, isn't there, as well? We've done it again. If you look at, because there's quite a few of us here who will stay in contact after the boot camp. And if you're looking at Ali Marden, who felt she wasn't good enough, if she's mixing with people who are very similar minded, we're going to keep reinforcing to her qualities as well. So not only is she working on herself, she's surrounding herself by other people who lift her as well. So it's a bit of a double positive in a way.
Yeah, it is, Lizzie. It is. Anything you do in a group, you know, with some of my sessions, we just get on a call and do a meditation together. And there's something that shifts in the energy when there's a group of people. I did a group meditation in Canada at one of Bob Proctor's things, and I was like in tears, and I didn't know why. And I was just doing a group meditation, gratitude, and it would just move. I never felt movement like it. And I'm not like a big crier, but it was lovely.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say it's such an amazing group, and you know, it's so easy nowadays to just get together, to like set up a Zoom call and via the group and just say, come on, shall we journal together or meditate together, or just sort of like touch base if there's, you know, if there's a need for it, to be accountable with each other. So I think, you know, since the sort of like foundation was laid over the last 6 weeks that you did, I think that it's such a present, such a gift to keep going as a team as well.
And it will help us all stay accountable and make sure
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And also, as I said this morning, right, it's never ending, but there's always stuff we have to work on, days where we might not be where we want to go, and then it's so good to have a group, and to have that support as well. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it is. Okay, you guys. So we'll call it. We'll call it a day there, and keep in touch. And for those I am speaking to in the next few days, I look forward to that. And for anybody else, look forward to speaking to you as well if you want to. So we'll take care. Have a good.
I want to know if David got his thing with Amazon.
I spoke to him on Tuesday, Colin, and he hasn't heard. It's with them. He got it in. He got
awesome.
Yeah,
brilliant.
That was the first big step for him. I've asked him to keep us informed. So I just think those big corps, they don't move very quickly, do they?
No.
They've got it. So that's good.
Yeah, but thanks for it anyway from me, because you've helped me visualize those goals, and that was a massive thing for me, and I've just taken it to the next level. So
are you doing it?
Oh yeah, thank you for that. I'm doing it. I'm feeling it.
Awesome. Well, that was the one thing you had a barrier with, wasn't it? So
massively.
Brilliant.
And imposter syndrome as well.
Yeah, keep going.
I feel quite emotional because when we get together, it's just a beautiful little group, isn't it? And I look forward to us all getting together because it's just full of kindness. I know it sounds a bit fluffy, but it's lovely. I really enjoy these sessions. I'm very lucky that I can take it on into 6 months with you, Lorna, and I'm very excited. But I just hope that others can find the resources and get some grants and come and join us on
I
that
won't
journey.
be too far behind you, Lizzie. I will not be too far behind you.
Oh my goodness. If I win the Euro Millions, I'll pay for you all. That's recorded as well. So.
We've all got the evidence.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, so much looking forward to seeing you all in the TIR family.
Yes. And you.
Oh.
Thank you, everybody. Look, have a great rest of the day, and yeah, we won't be able to help ourselves. We'll be on the group tomorrow. But
aye.
Lorna.
Yes,
Lorna.
That's not.
Nat's driving. You might have heard my driving bit. Lorna, I want to sing like a football song. We love you, Lorna. We do. We love, and I haven't even had a drink, guys. So,
Oh,
yeah,
you're driving.
we do. Thank you so much. So much.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the please.
Brilliant. Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
all. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.